What is good, YouTube? We are here today to go over our top 5 budget deck picks for November 2017. This is anything that can do pretty well at a locals to doing somewhat well at a regional, maybe not just like topping a regional and not being meta, but it's not something to count out of the meta. How does that sound? So also, I mean, you guys can throw expensive staples in it like Blossom and all that, but we're talking about builds of decks that don't have that kind of stuff because they're not spending that much money because they're normal people. So, what do we got for number 5, Justin?
Our number 5 pick is gadgets.
I love gadgets.
Everybody loves gadgets.
Gadgets love gadgets.
Yes, gadgets even love gadgets.
See, they're not like Paleo. They love themselves.
This guy's just hateful. You enjoyed playing against Paleo.
Let's not get off track, dang it, Bobby.
But anyway, this deck is just great even now in Link format. There's so many different things that you can, that you can play. There's pure gadgets, there's machina gadgets, I've seen metal foe gadgets, which has been really cool. I've seen all sorts of things with this deck. I saw true king gadgets, which I just think is really cool.
That's awful sounding, but I like it.
I mean, you use the field spell to pop your gold and silver to summon them. Yeah. Giragia gadgets was fun. I did play it. That was fun. But no, with so many different variants of this deck and literally the entire core, your red gadgets, your yellow gadgets, your gold gadgets, your silver gadgets, your green gadgets, everything for the deck is stupid cheap. So just being able to pick up everything and being able to build whatever variant you want, that makes this our number 5 pick. It'll do well at a locals, but don't expect to just be taking first the second you pick it up. That takes a lot of time.
Number 4.
Our number 4 pick is Light Sworns.
Such a good locals deck. It's not the most consistent deck in the world, which is why it doesn't like do super well all the time at regionals, but it's got so much power, and thanks to this card right here, a lot more consistency to some extent. Draw power, defense. This card was amazing, and the decks do pretty well for the most part. It takes a really smart player to pilot, though. You have to really think through each individual play. You can't just do something and pray to God something happens, right?
We've seen a crap ton of Light Sworns at our own locals, too.
We've seen the Twilight variants. That deck's not that... I like the dark stuff. I like the dark stuff, but it's nowhere near as consistent. It's fun, though. It is definitely fun.
Yes, but I do love the fact that we see a lot of this at our locals. There's just so much stuff this deck can do, and it's just good for a budget deck. You can pick everything up for stupid cheap and just go and top your you can go and get credit at your locals to build what you really want. And that's mainly the point of these decks, these budget decks, to build what you really want after you play them. So that's what makes this our number 4 pick.
Number 3.
Our number 3 pick is Cosmos.
Not a fan of this deck, but it did well in its time, and it'll do all right now.
It did well in its time, and it does do all right now. We've seen a couple of people still playing it at our locals. Not as much. It floats in and out, but right now it's really strong. The only thing I gotta say is watch out for Kaijus.
Yeah, Kaijus are like one of the biggest things stopping this deck from really taking one of the top spots.
But I will be fair, there's a lot of decks that are being held back by Kaijus right now, which is why we still agree that this deck is one of our top budget decks.
Poor Justin.
Yeah, I lost to a Kaiju today.
He wasn't playing this deck though.
Yeah, yay.
He's playing the Magical Musketeers, and he normal summoned one thinking it was God. Past turn, God became an ugly.
Yeah, that's true. Dear God, you swear more than I do in this. I want to point that out.
I bleep, bro. What's wrong with you?
Right, but no,
good deck. Don't sleep on it.
Yeah, this is a deck that should be played now and can do well at locals and get you what you want.
The big thing is it really doesn't care about Link format at all.
Right.
Number 2.
Our number 2 deck is actually one of our newer decks, and that is the
Weather Painters.
And this deck has been really interesting, and we're going to bring you our deck profile on it soon. Van Hook's been tweaking with it all freaking week.
Leave me be. I've been messing this deck a lot. I'm trying multiple different variants. There's all sorts of deck builds and stuff to be testing out. And I'm going to really... before we do the video, I'm going to make sure I find the right build for you guys to look over. And then I'm also going to consider a couple builds that are strictly, more pricey for competitive. And if I actually do take it to a regional, I'll bring that results back as well. It's a really cool deck, though. The only problem it really has right now is the simple fact that I don't see enough monsters in it. Like, there's 3 Snow, 3 Thunder, 3 Cloud, but then the other ones you kind of don't play as much, and it lacks monsters without having like a real good searcher otherwise. Now, it has Snowy Canvas, but you have to have a monster in order to be able to use it.
You know, I want to point out that that's actually a big problem with both of the decks out of Spirit Warriors.
The decks are really cool because they play very similarly, and they have very similar mechanics, and their styles are very similar, but a few things about how they go about the decks are really what makes the difference in the themes.
Yeah, I really wish we had more monsters for both of these that were a little more generic. But because they are a side set and part of a DT storyline, basically, there's hope for support in the future. So let's go Here's Hoping here for more support for us.
Yep, I'll be back with that one, guys. Don't worry.
All right, before we go with our number 1, we're going to go ahead and give some honorable mentions here. And one of our honorable mentions will be Samurais. And this is very budget because out of the Spirit Warriors pack, which I know we opened 4 boxes, but literally the whole freaking deck is stupid cheap, and you can get everything.
Should have warned a brother before you did that. But yes, there's oh my god, so much of the deck got reprinted. The only things that didn't were already cheap.
Right. So
Kagamusha, which would have been nice as a super.
Everything can get picked up now, though.
Including some of the newer support, which you play a little of.
So, but no, it's definitely a very cheap deck, and for people who love this, it can come so pretty now.
Yeah, that it can.
So, I think the deck's fully hollow because I think the only card that we didn't have hollow was actually, Asceticism. Everything else.
Did we have Cage Musha even? Or Kagamusha?
Dang, no Kagamusha. But no, you don't have to play it anymore. You can play this guy. He's a 2-star tuner that's hollow.
I'm not playing him.
Why?
Well, not over Kagamusha because of asceticism.
I know. You play both. But still.
Bad Justin.
Quiet you. I don't play the deck, so that's your problem.
I'm building it because why not? We pulled so much of it, it's not even funny.
And then our number 2 pick for budget. And remember, there are some variants of this deck that you don't play in budget, but we're going with Trick Stars.
Yeah, this is not the Droll and Lock Loop variant at all. Those things are too expensive.
Yeah, this is without Droll and Lock, but it's a good honorable mention because most of the deck's cheap. If you pick up everything, the most expensive card is $18.
Yep.
So it's really not that bad on the wallet.
We get 2 more, I'm playing with it.
You don't even have to pick up an extra. All right. Moving on to our number 1 pick for budget.
God.
Yeah, this deck is just stupid. It's Pendulum Magicians. It is one of our tier 1 decks in its budget, which is kind of cool for the game, actually. I think the last time that happened was, actually it wasn't too long ago, it was Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Pick up 3 and the deck was complete.
Yeah, just about. It was ridiculous.
You did not have to play the True Dracos in it, but people did anyways. But no, you can buy... I have found boxes online for $40 of this set. So you can buy a literally entire box for $40 and you get most of the deck. You may not get all your Skullbat Jokers, or you may not get all of, I don't know, there's a couple of random cards that you may not get all of, but like Wisdom Eye. And with this thing getting a reprint as a common, the deck's just stupid cheap now and you can get literally everything for nothing. It's great. It really is like a tier 1 deck that you can build for like $40-$50.
Yeah, it's really good.
All these decks that we have mentioned you can build for under $100, which is great. And that's including with things like the Light Swarms and Girgia. You can build them for under $100 with the extra deck, which is nice.
Yep. So that's our top 5, guys. Let us know what you think down below. If you've got any other good mentions you believe should be in the deck, or the list, sorry, go ahead and mention